thought I was going to be able to make this short and sweet, but this is probably going to be one of those multi-segment series like the taping in the inside. There's just so much going on that it was a lot easier with my Flickr photos to just say, here, this is what I did. I cut like this and that, and you'll figure it out. But it's not that easy. So I've already taken some time off camera just to scratch my head and figure out what I'm trying to do here. That I'll go ahead and disassemble this because I got to get it taken apart for the put in the Easy Fill or the Gel Magic on it to glue it together. If you remember, we had the little corner blocks here. Okay, then because on this boat I want to be able to mount like the electric paddle or some little motor of some sort. I have a short filler on the inside of my space rail system. Some boats I've had solid rails across, and some I've put in the gaps. This one's going to have the gaps, 2 3-inch gaps, one on each side, so if you want to tip the boat up on in to drain any water out, it's easier to do it that way than it is to roll it on the side. At least now the water will drain out. So I've got my centerpiece in. It's already, I've got position and screwed. You'll remember this lip is standing proud. Once I get these in, I'll come back and take them out. I did take my my saw, my draw saw, and then cut some strokes down along here to make to be certain that it's on the mark on both sides. But I will do a little bit of touch up with the rasp and plane later. So I've got those, and then I had to make some little pieces that were feathered in. Let me take one out and we'll come back. Okay, we're back. I've already got this one pre-drilled. I've also marked on top of this piece, and anywhere there's a screw going through, I'll put a mark with an S, bar S on it, to say that there's a screw there. I will, once I get around to start finishing them off, I will transpose a little line on a piece of masking tape underneath them so that I'll remember where they're at even after I've shaped the rails and all my marks are gone. But I had to use my adjustable screw to find an angle this way and an angle that way. In order, you got 2 angles you're having to fight with to get back into these little corner blocks. It's worth your effort to take some scrap of the dimension stock you're going to use. Don't use anything narrower or wider. It's got to be the exact piece. So if you already have some bits left over, or cut a section out of what you're going to use, but make certain that that you don't cut something short that you don't want to. So practice on making that. Hold on a second. When you're cutting these, use your angles to find the 2 angles. Use scrap stock in order to get the perfect one that you have, and then transfer these angles over to your stock you're going to use to put the lines on it to be certain. And then use, I've got it's a new draw saw. It's a Japanese draw saw. I was going to get one with the long handles so that it'd remind me that I'm pulling, but this one, they're so long they won't fit in my tool case. So I got the regular this handle, but you learn to pull. And so you just lay it down on the mark. Remember, you got an angle this way and that way. So you got 2 angles going at once. And then just draw it along, and then fit it. And if it came out right, well, more power to you. You can follow the lines. But if it didn't, you can take a rasp. I've got a real fine rasp that I can do to shape it, or if you have enough tools in the shop where you have a rotary sanding disc with a miter gauge and the tilting table where you can come in and just do a little bit of tweaks on the end until it gets to fit. This came out pretty easy because I got a short piece here, cut the end, and then trim it to the length to get my gap between the next piece in the middle and the little one on this side. Now we'll come over to the other side. Remember, that angle is exact opposite of all the angles you cut, so you can't, if you're trying to use a table saw or something like that, everything is backwards, and like I said before, use a piece of scrap to set the angles to make certain that you have them right, and then transfer that angle over to your final stock, and then do that. Once I had that in place and I've got my other little parts, then it's you come into the, which end am I working here? That's it. Come up to the next one on top, and in my confusion here, always write top port, top side, or top port, top starboard, to be sure that you have the right piece at the right spot, and that you don't cut something off. And then on the other end, I just put a 45-degree bevel in, so it'll be kind of nice when I get done. Now, when I'm doing the inside rails, it will be a little the same thing. The first thing that comes on the inside of the plywood will be another filler strip for the spaced rail system, and it'll be about 8 inches long before the first 3-inch gap shows up, or 3-inch open space. So that'll be easy to fix those. The thing you probably want to do is, while you have the little guy angle out that you know is right, because the parallel lines and angles, if you learned your geography or geometry in school, will stay the same. So even though this plug is right, or this end is right here, as you move it out, the angles are going to be the same. So transfer those over to the butt ends, the stern ends of your inside rails, the inside part, the long part, and then you should be okay there. If you're off a little bit, don't worry, because remember, this plug in the corner is going to come out, and you can true up any errors you have at that time when you insert another plug in there. And I'm going to try to find some colorful wood to go with the contrast against the Maranthe, maybe a piece of white oak or something. I'll see what I've got, and then we'll come up on that when we finish that part. So, I probably used up my full 10 minutes on YouTube on just this part. But this is tricky. This is information you're going to need and to think through, and I will be adding pointers as we go along. And as I edit this video, I may have to do this over again. So, later. Okay, once you get all the pieces epoxied up or glued up, whichever way you're going, clamp it in place. Be sure, I'm going to just make certain as many times as I want. Make certain that everything is lined up, it hasn't slid around, and you got some clamp pressure, but not so much that you squeeze all the epoxy out. Remember, it's a gap-filling compound, so you don't need a lot of clamping pressure, so just enough to keep it around. Normally, I would have probably pre-drilled the holes for longer screws. I've got screws on the plywood going to the outer rail, and then each one of these gap spacer rails has one or two screws in it to hold it in place. But when I get done going through between the inner space rail, the plywood, and the outer rail, I'll go ahead and use some probably 2.5 inch screws to tie everything together. That's why it's very important to locate where any of the screws are that you have already installed, so that when you come back and do this, that you don't have a problem with it. I was going to do the inner angle here, short pieces first, but I think I'm going to have a problem with the fitting the angles if I haven't got the. Well, I may be okay there. I'll go ahead and cut them out. Otherwise, I would do the outside rails next, because I need to get into the very corner. I need to pull this block out to get a screw back in here from the inside out to hold the outer rail. But I'll do that later.